Hello and welcome to the July new releases episode of Dear Rach and Soph, but I'm solo today, so it's just Dear Rach. I'm so excited to talk about some fabulous new books that are out this month. And don't forget that if you're a author and you have a book coming out anytime from now on for the rest of the year, give us a message. You can drop us, either of us, me, Rachael Johns, or my lovely co-host Sophie Green, a message on Instagram, or you can email us at Sophie Green. I should be checking this email, shouldn't I? I think it's sophiegreenbooks@gmail.com. Anyway, I will not waste any more time of telling you about all the exciting new releases that are coming up. The first I'm super excited about is a debut book, and we've got a couple of debuts today, which makes me even more excited than usual. The first is called What Did I Miss? And it's by Holly Brunnbauer. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. Its genre is romantic comedy, and it's published by HarperCollins Australia. It's out now, and this is what it's about. So Michaela has many regrets, don't we all? A Chico roll impulse buy, not visiting the big pineapple, and marrying her high school dud. Now, newly divorced, determined to hold on to her independence and facing the big 3-0, Michaela makes a list of all the things she missed out on while her friends were single and running amok in their 20s. But when her one night stand turns up again and a revenge plot on her ex spirals out of control, she has to decide if some things are worth missing. Definitely sounds very intriguing, and I can't wait to read that. The second is by the lovely Renae Black. It's a rural romance published by HQ, and the title is Second Chance Station. Here we go. Relationships on the station are forbidden, but are some rules made to be broken? At Windale Mountain Sheep Station, there's only one rule. Don't sleep with the guests. Pretty good one. In her 10 years living on the mountain, Indigo Mills has never once thought about breaking the rules. After childhood neglect and an adolescence that still haunts her, the opportunity to live and work on the sheep station was a lifesaver, literally. And Indy won't do anything to jeopardize her mountain family and home. That is, until Carter Hendricks, the best halfback in the game of professional rugby, turns up. I think we can guess what might happen. Now, the next book is called August Reunion. It's by Juliet Madison, and it's in the women's fiction genre and published by Bloodhound Books. Excuse me. What was I going to say? Bloodhound Books? Ignore me. Anyway, here we go. After her divorce, Katie Mackenzie promised herself she'd wait a year before dating again. But just when she does, her troubled twin brother shows up needing help, and Katie's newfound freedom is put on hold. This story is a heartfelt, emotional, and uplifting story about second chances, the strength of family, and finding the courage to follow your heart. Now, the next book is released by HarperCollins. Actually, the next couple are HarperCollins. And this one is The Peak by Sam Guthrie. It's a political thriller. From the jostling streets of Hong Kong to Beijing's shadowy halls of power and the backstabbing Machiavellian, I can never say that properly, workings of Parliament House in Canberra. The Peak is a powerful, propulsive, and nail-bitingly tense international thriller, written with an extraordinary insider knowledge of China, the realities of global power, and the inner dealings of the Australian government. The Peak has the authenticity and moral complexity of a Le Carre novel and the narrative power of an Australian Robert Harris. And that's out now. Did I say that was with HarperCollins? I think I did. This one is also HarperCollins. And I actually went, oh, pity I don't have the book here. It's in my other room. But I went to the launch of this book last night. So it was super exciting to hear the author, Michelle Johnson, talk about her book, The Revisionists. And if you get a chance to go see her, I definitely would, because she has a hell of a story in her research. Anyway, here we go. Upper East Side, Manhattan, 2023. Christine Campbell, former journalist, turns on the television to watch a documentary paying homage to her Pulitzer Prize shortlisted coverage of the unrest in 1999 in the North Caucasus. Why can I ever say that? She is newly widowed, wealthy, and attempting to write a memoir celebrating her bold life and significant achievements in writing about the silencing of women during conflict. But truth has a way of resurfacing, even when buried deep beneath money, memory, and reinvention. When Dr. Frankie Pearson, Christine's oldest and estranged friend, knocks on her door, the pair must reconcile their memories and come to terms with the far-reaching and disastrous decisions they both made over 20 years ago. It's an elegant, thrilling, and brilliantly compelling novel of the consequences of the conflict between a person's principles and their desire for acclaim. That's The Revisionists, people, and it's got a great cover. So, the next book is a YA spec fic, and it's by Jasmin McGaughey. Oh my goodness, I really hope I said that right. Probably not. McGaughey. Anyway, apologies, Jasmin, but her gorgeous book is called Moonlight and Dust, and it's published by Allen and Unwin. Moonlight and Dust is an intriguing, fast-paced debut. Yay! 3 debuts, actually. I thought we only had 2. A fast-paced debut young adult fantasy novel featuring 16-year-old Torres Strait Islander Zilla, who is caught up in a world of exclusive high school parties after her sister has a mysterious accident. For fans of kick-ass girls, yay! Enigmatic boys, woohoo! True friendships, dark secrets, and illicit magic. And next, we have a fantasy novel. It's published, independently published, and it's available on Kindle. And it's called Fractured Pieces, the Nexus Series 2. And the author is Mandi Kontos. So, here we go. Reapers are killing the magically inclined. A secret society of assassins highly trained to slay monsters. Sorry, there was a little smudge on my computer and I thought it said stay. So let's start again on that one. A secret society of assassins, and now my dog's trying to get in the door. Highly trained to slay monsters that lurk in the shadows. It's been a year since Devon Ryder left the camp, and the adjustment has been interesting. Between playing the doting son, hotelier heir, and brother by day, he is the dream-walking assassin by night. Jeez. Ryder terrorizes his victims by showing up in their dreams weeks before their death, tormenting them with a taste of what's to come, until he meets her. That sounds like a killer premise to me. Okay, our next book is a crime novel. It's called Brooke Road by Matthew Spencer, and it's published by Allen and Unwin. A late night phone call is never good news for homicide detective Sergeant Rose Riley. This time she's being sent up to the Hunter Valley, where a woman has been found dead in her home. Rose grew up further along the valley. She knows that for every vineyard and golf course resort visited by tourists to the wine country, there are many dilapidated fibro houses and drug dens in the shadow of one of the state's largest prisons. A media hound points the finger at the husband, angering Rose, but capturing the attention of journalist turned true crime author Adam Bauman. And his book on the Blue Moon Killer made him famous, but the case nearly cost Rose her life, and she's not sure how she feels about seeing him again. Geez, it sounds like a lot of conflict there. The next book is called Ruins. It's by Amy Taylor, and it's classified as literary fiction and published by Allen and Unwin. A simmering, provocative novel about a couple whose affair with a young Greek woman over the course of a summer in Athens threatens to crack their relationship wide open. From the author of Search History. Voyeuristic and thrilling, Ruins delivers the drama of a modern Greek tragedy while exposing the tensions between privilege, power, and desire. And I've written myself a note here. The cover is gorgeous. Check it out. Next is by the fabulous and lovely Jessica Detman. Her book, Your Friend and Mine, is a contemporary fiction novel published by Allen and Unwin. And here's a little bit about it. When Margot receives an email from her best friend, and it comes as a shock, seeing as Tess died 20 years ago. Margot is catapulted back to 2000, meeting the confident English backpacker visiting Sydney, where their intense friendship led to plans to travel back to Europe together. But then Margot fell in love with Johnny, and she never made it to London. Margot feels guilty for letting Tess down. Now Tess is providing Margot with the means to fly to London and have the trip they never got to do together. But there are stipulations to Tess's beyond the grave generosity. Margot must scatter her ashes and carry out tasks in the company of Leo, Tess's stepbrother. That sounds like spicy stuff might happen. Sorry if that's not the case, Jess. I'm a little bit loopy doing this on my own. Sophie's never going to let me do this again. And our next novel is a rural romance by Leonie Kelsall, who has been on the pod, and her novel is called The Path Through Kurong Trees. Once upon a time, Natasha believed in love. At 19, her heart was captivated by a man who promised her the world, only to vanish, leaving her to carry the weight of shattered dreams and the child she never expected. A decade later, Natasha is focused on providing love and stability for her daughter, determined to break the cycle of poverty and trauma that has haunted her childhood. As they ease into the peaceful rhythms of Settlers Bridge, Natasha is drawn to the local mechanic, Hamish. Great name, by the way. My son's called Hamish. Whose quiet strength stirs feelings she hadn't thought she would ever experience again. Yet, despite this connection, Natasha can't shake the feeling that moving on from her first love is impossible. The next one is a co-written book by Ali Berg and Michelle Kalis. And it's published by Allen and Unwin. These two, I think this is their fourth or fifth novel, very popular in the rom-com genre. So it's called Love Overdue. Love a bookish rom-com. Lauren Green thinks her first love story is shelved for good until life decides to write a surprise chapter. Steamy, fun, and uplifting. Love Overdue is a bookish rom-com about first loves, second chances, and discovering how sometimes the best plot twists come along after you think the story's over. Sounds good. And then we have a historical crime novel by Belinda Lyons Lee. It's published by Transit Lounge, and the fabulous title is The Haunting of Mr. and Mrs. Stevenson. And get a load of this tag. Before Jekyll and Hyde, there was someone else. Isn't that great? The Haunting of Mr. and Mrs. Stevenson is a gothic delight. It tells the story of Robert Louis Stevenson's friendship with the charming Eugene Chantrell and the murder mystery that contributed to Robert's need to create a novel focused on the dualistic nature of the psyche. From a seance with the Shelleys at Boscombe Manor to a haunted wardrobe, I was about to say website, but I think it's historical, so there weren't websites around, to a haunted wardrobe made by a famous Scottish criminal. The novel is underscored by the story of two writers very much in love. So that sounds like a really interesting one to pick up too. And we have one last fiction novel before I have a non-fiction book to talk to you about, which I'm actually really excited about. And this book, this last fiction one, is also by a debut author. So congrats to Emma Babington on her new novel, The Neighbours. It's published by HQ Fiction. And the genre is part psychological thriller, part family mystery. This is the tagline. You're almost certain your daughter didn't kill the neighbour. But what if she did? Richard Wellington is one of the country's most recognised doctors, a morning TV regular, surgeon to the elite, and scandal-proof despite a malpractice case that should have ruined him. But when his body is found sprawled at a harbourside park on a sweltering Sydney morning, the facade shatters. His murder dominates the headlines, and normally quiet cul-de-sac he called home before it becomes a media circus, seething with speculation and unease. For Liv Elliott, none of that matters except one detail. Her daughter Grace was at the park that morning. As the investigation heats up and dark secrets about Richard begin to surface, Liv takes steps to shield her daughter from the storm. Steps that could destroy them both if the truth comes out. Sounds pretty good. Now, this last book I want to talk to you about today is published by Ginninderra Press, and the author is Dr. Alicia Lee. The book is called The Trauma-Informed Writer, and I will be grabbing myself a copy ASAP. Drawing on cutting-edge research into genre fiction and trauma theory, The Trauma-Informed Writer is an essential resource for all fiction writers wanting to explore and include trauma themes. Inside, you'll discover how to manage and limit trauma triggers in your readers while combining trauma elements to create unique subgenres. You will learn how to develop the trauma arc in your writing and understand what trauma is and what it is not. You will also become familiar with the 9 major trauma responses, recognize the range of post-trauma effects, and truly gain insight into the impact of trauma on relationships, whether romantic or non-romantic. Sounds amazing, doesn't it? So thank you for putting up with me and my little mistakes and mispronunciations and probably saying people's names wrong. I apologize. But I think you'll agree with me. There's some fantastic books out in Australia at the moment. And just a reminder, if you're an author, you can email us at sophiegreenbooks@gmail.com, or you can drop into each of our DMs on Instagram and let us know your new book is coming out, and we will give a shout out to our here right now. Well, not right now. Next month, the month after that, on our Dear H and Soph pod. Phew. Thank you, and happy reading, everyone.